Welcome back, Tributes, to episode 79 of Into the Arena. I'm Holly,
I'm Emily.
and we have Ronnie here.
Hey, hello
Woo!
again.
Back for
It's
another round.
So excited, so pumped.
always so good to have you, Ronnie. And we had to have you for this episode because today we're talking about the Hunger Games on stage. But before that, we just have some belated announcements. The Hunger Games turned 12, so March 23rd of 2012 is when the first movie came out. So congrats. And just so sweet seeing all the posts that weekend and seeing everyone come together on that day. I watched it yesterday. It was just like such a sweet thing to do, but made me think where I was 12 years ago and like where I am 12 years now. It's just so
Did you
weird.
ever think you'd be on your own Hunger Games podcast?
Absolutely not. No. And then I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news. If you haven't heard already, unfortunately, the Hunger Games exhibition has closed in Vegas. They closed on March 31st. So it was their final time in Vegas. And I don't know if you were lucky enough to make it, but they had costumes and props and amazing interactive things for the Hunger Games, and we've all been lucky enough to go. So I hope they do something more with fans. I hope that they're not just going to auction these off. I hope that they're going to share it like they did at the premiere. They shared all those amazing outfits.
I kind of hope they auction them off.
I
I'm
was
like,
about
I'm
to
not,
I'll
say,
take a
um,
few.
I'm like, maybe 10 years from now, but I'm in my early 20s. I'm like, I can't afford.
Those chairs are mine. Give me those train chairs. I've been waiting for my chance. So,
if there
Oh
was
my
one
gosh.
thing from the exhibition that you could have, would it be the chairs?
oh, it'd be the chairs. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
absolutely. I feel like I probably wouldn't be able to afford a costume, but maybe an Affy costume would be cool. But a lot of those were from like runways, so they're not
Yeah.
even like owned by Lionsgate. But yeah, the train chairs, because I can put them in my bedroom, I can put them in my house, I can use those things.
I don't even know
Yeah.
what I would want. There's so many good things in there. Definitely a costume, I think. Ooh, I want the wedding dress. If I could fit anything in my house, it would be the
Ooh,
wedding dress.
In New
It's
that's
so
a
York,
big
great.
thing.
I
you're
know
gonna
it's
need
huge. I've
a
been
bigger
looking.
place to live.
God, it would need its own room, I think.
Oh
But
my gosh.
unfortunately, in Brooklyn, there's not a whole lot of space here, so I don't think I'd be able to fit it anywhere.
I know Hollywood want the yellow dress, but I don't think they have one of those anymore.
Yeah.
Did they have one at the New York one? I think they did, the yellow dress.
Well, it would have been sold in the first auction.
There was a couple of things that sold in the first auction that were at the exhibition in New York.
Hmm.
I was fortunate to go to both, the one in New York and then the one in Vegas. And I do think the one in Vegas was like a lot more well themed. I think I liked that one a little bit more than the one in New York. But New York definitely had like a lot more costumes and stuff.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I didn't make it to the New York one, and I always heard that that one was like really good. So I was sad that I missed out on it. But so lucky we all got to go. We got to go together too. It's
Yes.
kind of sad also that that place that a lot of us convened for the first time,
Yeah.
back in April is no longer there.
The room where it happened, where we watched the teach
Hmm.
for the first time.
Oh
Ah,
my gosh.
what I would give to do the archery one more time. That's definitely my favorite part of the exhibition. That was so fun.
Never got to do the archery. We
Yeah,
had an
didn't
early
do it.
flight.
Rip.
Rip.
I forgot. We
No, we
watched the
had a
trailer
early
in the
flight.
room where the archery was.
Almost a year since that happened. Oh my goodness.
Almost a year.
It just feels so weird to be in this year, but we have so much more to look forward to because we also have the illustrated book coming out in
Hmm.
October. We were just talking about before we were recording that we want to see more of the images and the illustrations from it and just get a deeper look into it. But that's something to look forward to.
I hope they do all four of the books
Oh, me
as an
too.
illustrated
Oh,
edition if it does well. So everybody
please.
needs to buy it.
Yes. That also leads us into our conversation about the Hunger Games on stage, which is happening allegedly in
Allegedly.
2024.
It's been canceled before,
I was about to
so
say
I
Yes.
guess
we've
it
been
could
made
be canceled
promises.
again.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember. Like, there's a vague memory of that press release back in 2014 of the play being announced, but it was a time where a lot was still going on, like the
Mm.
movies were still coming out, so it was just kind of a blip.
I remember it so well. I was so excited.
Okay, tell us,
Oh.
Ronnie.
Well, like they sent out this press release and they said that they were gonna build like a whole new like theater just for it. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is kind of a weird move. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's cool, but then like it just was dead silent. I don't even think they officially like canceled it. There was no like statement released. It just like
Yeah.
kind of just nobody said anything about it. But then when it was announced, I think it was last year, yeah, when they announced the West End version that's coming out this
Mhm.
year. I think it was
Mhm.
last
Yeah.
year. I was like, well, I'm glad that that idea isn't dead, but I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it because then it brings up a lot of questions. Like, I mean, we'll
Yeah.
talk about it. I can't. It's gonna be a lot.
I hadn't remembered that they were going to build in conjunction with the play back in 2014, or I guess it
Yeah.
was gonna premiere in 2016, that they were trying to build a new space, and I guess for the Hunger Games to be the first production in the new space, and that it
Mhm.
was kind of like a 360 sort of like
Yeah.
a new
Mhm.
kind of theater that wasn't anywhere in the UK yet, which I thought was really interesting. So like in theory, the company that was working with Lionsgate on the production had a lot of experience with this like theater where everyone sits and then the set pieces like kind of rotate around from scene to scene sort of thing.
Carousel of Progress, like at Disney. I don't know how familiar you all with
Mm,
that ride, but kind of
yeah,
similar, I'm
Mhm.
gonna guess, vibe to it.
but there's still to this day like nothing in the UK like that. So I don't think that they're gonna go with that again. Maybe they just took the time from then until now to rethink how they could do a show
Yeah.
that's like less visually demanding in that way that doesn't need an entirely new space.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why it didn't end up happening because they couldn't get like the funding to actually build this new theater.
I could totally see that. And also just to make like hopefully if it does well, it'll get a Broadway transfer and it having a very specific space like that in the UK of like a spinning stage or whatever, you can't really do that in New York because there's only so much
Yeah, that's
footprint here.
true.
You can't like build an
Mhm.
entire new theater here. They're
Yeah,
gonna have to do like gut renovations. It'd be very expensive. So I think just for like ease of transfer, it'll be more like a traditional play, I think.
that's a good positive that I didn't think about. Maybe it could tour more easily because
Yeah.
they don't have that limitation of the space.
They did announce that like Stranger Things play that's in the West End. I'm not sure how familiar you all with that.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I've been doing a lot of research on that because it seems so
similar.
similar in a
Yeah, I
lot
thought
of
the same thing.
ways. And so I looked through the Stranger Things Instagram and looking at like their timeline of announcing things as well, which
Mm.
they announced it and then the first news that they got, which I think was when the show was going to premiere, was at the end of March.
Mhm.
So I'm like, maybe if there's a similar timeline, we'll get news soon. I don't know. It made me a little more optimistic
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we won't be waiting until like the end of summer.
I feel like they have to start soon because I mean, building an entire theater production, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of time. So hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I thought maybe it could move into the same theater as Stranger Things because I thought it was
Mm.
ending in like August, but they just I think announced that it's going through like December at least. So
Oh wow.
I'm like trying to figure out like, well, what theater could it be in? Like,
I
where could it
know.
be?
I was looking at that too. I'm not super familiar with the West End because I've never been to the UK before. My expertise is more on Broadway, but I don't know. I have no idea what they could pick. It needs to be a big space, like a
Hmm.
big stage. I mean, how are you going to fit 24 kids on stage at once? I mean, that
Well,
just
I
seems
feel
a
like you
lot.
and I have been talking about the idea of it being in a round,
Yeah,
which would be really cool,
it'd
but
be so
I
cool.
was trying to do research and I don't think there are a lot of or maybe any spaces in the West End that actually could do that. I mean, there's like the Globe Theater or whatever, but like that's not
That would be just with
Oh my
that would be
Shakespeare
god.
kind of
wide.
cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Our 21st century Shakespeare in Shakespeare
That
theater.
would be very poetic.
Oh my god.
I'd take it.
I would take it too, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it might have to be more of a theater where it's three sides, like
Yeah,
kind of like a
like a
thrust.
thrust stage. I could see that. I'm just like as much as I'm really excited about this, I just really can't. It was the same thing with Ballad after reading Ballad. I can't imagine it being a play.
It's
Um,
so hard to picture.
it is. And like, I mean, Holly, you did your rewatch the other day to
Mhm.
celebrate. I mean, I did as well. And the entire time I watched it, I was like, I don't understand how they can do this. Like,
How is this gonna
No.
how
be
is this gonna
on
happen?
stage?
Yeah. No, I think that was one thing I was thinking was like the bloodbath, transferring that over. Oh my gosh.
How?
There's so much running too, and like you can only run so far on a stage. I mean, I don't know what they could
Well,
do with
see,
like
that's why the 360 thing
screens.
would be kind of cool because
Yeah.
if that set's moving, then it's almost kind of like having the turntable sort of
Mm,
thing where they can move or run and it looks like it, but they aren't actually going anywhere.
Mhm. And like just the special effects in general are going to be so insane, I'm sure. I'm hoping that it's really good and not like
yeah.
cheesy. Like the mutts. I hope the mutts aren't cheesy.
Or like the fireballs in the
Oh yeah,
arena,
what the
like how I mean, I guess like lighting, but
I mean, you saw Cursed Child on Broadway, yeah? I mean, they do a lot of fire effects with that show.
true, true. Honestly, Cursed Child, I feel like opened my eyes up to what a lot of the technical side of theater could be. I'd never
Yeah.
really seen anything like that. That was pretty cool.
Story-wise, that show isn't very good, but
No.
technically it's a beautiful show. It's very fun to watch. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I recommend it. Just to watch stage magic happen. There's so much stuff that goes on stage and you're just like, "How does that happen? How do you do that?" Like,
But one of the cool things with that show is the magic when they're fighting, which doesn't really translate to the Hunger Games because it's so much more physical.
yeah, quote unquote realistic, I guess. Like, they're not fighting with wands, they're like actually beating each other up and stabbing
Yeah,
each other
there
and
has
stuff.
to be contact
Yeah,
or like, stage combat. I'm thinking that they must be planning to have some sort of like screen in the background
yeah.
to put like
Mhm.
the images or like have maybe like the fire like coming at Katniss. They had someone on the production list, video designer. So
Mm.
I'm like, there's got to be some cool like projections and like videos in
I
it.
hope it's I just really hope it's not too screen based. I hate it when like shows
Mm,
nowadays
Yeah.
yeah.
are just so screen based. Like I saw Mean Girls on Broadway and I didn't like all of the screens. I was like, build some physical sets, please. Like it's not hard.
Yeah.
I love me a good physical set. There's a lot of artistry that goes behind like set design and just to have screens that you just throw up there, I'm just like, "Ah, come on, try harder."
Well, I mean, I was looking into the set designer on the list of crew, and it seems like they've done a lot of cool stuff. Like just looking through like the Instagrams and history of work that the crew has been involved in, that gave me a lot of confidence. I think the director's been Tony nominated like 5 times.
Yeah, the director I know did I believe Girl from North Country, which is a Bob Dylan musical. I've seen it. It was very good. I cried like a
Okay,
baby.
cool, cool.
And it was a great show. So like I don't have any doubt that he's going to do a good job. I just really hope that these people really get into the source material of the thing because like I know this is in conjunction with Lionsgate, like Lionsgate's helping produce this. I just
Mhm.
am curious to see like what book elements are they going to take? Like, are they going to add scenes that are in the books like
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
play?
are they gonna do anything? I haven't read the actual press release. I wasn't able to find it. I just read all of the articles talking about the
Mhm.
show, and at least one of them said that it was gonna be based on the movie. I don't know if that's like a true statement or if they're going to reach into the book for anything at all. Like, I think it would be so disappointing if they didn't give us anything new, you
Yeah, if it was
know?
just like a copy and paste of like the movie, essentially, I wouldn't like that.
You guys are making me worried now about like what
And
it
it's not
could
we don't
be
want to do
because
that.
like as a non like I'm not like not a theater fan, but I'm not like a regular theater fan. Um Having this announcement, I was definitely thinking it was more of a book thing, and then doing this research and finding out that it was working with Lionsgate. Didn't really think anything of it, but now you're talking about like digital screens and like all of this, and I don't want it to be like a really cheap production. I have like
Mhm.
good faith because it's not on Broadway. I think if it was like a money grab, it would be on Broadway.
Like a
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'm just nervous now.
I mean, I think we just have a lot of unanswered questions
Mhm.
Mhm.
with it. If Lionsgate owns the IP for any adaptations, then like it has to be Lionsgate. But I don't think that necessarily means, I think we just don't know if they're gonna be able to interpret it in a different way or not.
Especially since like the show, or at least the movie, is very first person centric, other than just like the little side scenes. And
Mhm.
that's a lot for an actor to be on stage for like most of the time. Like I
Yeah.
feel
That's
like
what
there's
I was wondering.
not a whole lot of opportunity for them to get off stage. So I'm wondering if they'll like maybe expand on certain scenes like with Snow, or like I don't know. I really hope they keep Seneca Crane's weird beard. I hope that that just stays the
Mhm.
same. I'm down for like changes to any of the costumes. Like I would like to see like a fresh interpretation of like the costumes and stuff, but keep the beard. Like that's all I'm
Yeah,
asking
that's
for.
the question. It's like, is it gonna be visually the same, like down to those elements,
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
or not? This is such a big role too for
Yeah.
whoever plays Katniss, and I think it's gonna be so
Mhm.
exciting to have another Katniss
It's the
actress.
Yeah.
first time that we have
Ah,
another Katniss.
Mm-hmm.
I know. But I think that really is a good question because when I was thinking about this, I was thinking more about like how it's going to be translated. And I was wondering that question about perspective. Like, are we going to get more scenes like you were saying, Ronnie? Because I really do hope that they branch out and make it more of a third person story. I think it would be cool to see it from the capital perspective because we are, in a sense, literally being that capital audience watching the games happen right in front of our eyes. So I think it would be cool to kind of
Mm,
like twist that story and turn it around so it's more of like a an outsider perspective than just following Katniss all the way through. I
Yeah.
think it would be such a cool storytelling thing to do.
theater is so cool in that way. Like we are going to be the audience watching right there in
Hmm.
front of us as it's happening.
Oh, imagine the interviews. That'll be
Oh my
fun.
gosh.
Okay.
Oh
Wait,
my gosh.
that would be super cool.
To have like a
I'm
season.
excited. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is I Volunteer as Tribute, and I
Mhm.
think the reaping is going to be cool to see on
Oh,
stage.
Yeah.
how it'll be silent in the audience. That'll be
Yeah,
so
I think it's going
cool.
to be chilling. I think that's going to be a great moment.
So many questions. I have so many questions about how this is
I
gonna
know.
work.
I
It's
need more
like
information.
literally
Do we
grasping.
think that they would cast a non-white Katniss?
I hope they better.
I
That's all I'm saying is that they better.
I hope so. I would like to hope so because they know that that's who is meant to play Katniss.
And it's like with Cursed Child, I mean, there's a Black Hermione, and like she's
Right.
fabulous. Like, and people really didn't, at least from what I saw, I didn't really see a lot of backlash about that. I think people were just like kind of okay with it. So I think with a at least a person of color as Katniss, it doesn't have to be black. It could be, Hispanic, like whatever. I think it'd be really interesting, and it'd be something that we haven't seen yet. I mean, they were
Mhm.
kind of close with casting Rachel Zegler and as Lucy, because like I think we all wanted Lucy Gray to be a person of color. But yeah, non-white Katniss would be perfect. Just like anybody in the cast, I think would be very interesting to have like a different race, like Effie, Black Effie. Come on, that would be so
Mm,
fabulous. I would die.
yeah.
And that's what people want.
Yeah, I think the people would kind of raise hell a little bit if they cast away Katniss. Honestly,
My question then is like I'm wondering the ages that they're gonna cast too.
How old can they get away with? Is it going to be kids?
That makes it hard to watch too. Like then it's like theater, but then it's also hard to watch and
I could see it going like having an actress probably in her late teens, early 20s as Katniss, and then like probably having like actual kids, but also having kids on stage is like that's a whole logistical nightmare because there's a lot of like
Yeah,
labor
a
laws and
lot
stuff.
of kids at
Yeah, a lot
once.
of
And
kids.
especially with if
Mhm.
these are, combat scenes.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like they're probably going to try and get as old of people who look young as possible.
no, 100%. It's gonna be very interesting. I just want to see a
It's
picture of
wild.
something,
Something.
Just
even if they just
anything.
tell us where the theater is.
Even
Just
just doing research for this episode, it was like going through you just go to the social media post and that's pretty much it. It's just like
The one post.
the
the
one
one.
post that we have.
It's coming. Sign up for updates. TheHungerGamesOnStage.com.
Imagine they like send us an email. It's like Hunger Games on stage update. It's not happening.
Oh my gosh.
No, we need this to
If
happen.
it gets canceled, I'll be so sad. But I feel like it's too close
Well, that's what I was
to
thinking too.
fall at this point for it to be canceled. I mean, anything can happen, but they've got to be in some serious pre-production right
Yeah.
now.
I think they're definitely gonna do movie, like, but like not replica. I think it might be just like movie inspired. I could see them going that route. Just like have like a comfortable medium of
The
like
problem is I feel like if they go close, but not like completely accurate to it, it's gonna feel like parody.
I could see that.
Mm,
Yeah.
Like if it's an Effie kind of costume, but like not the exact one, it's gonna feel off.
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley.
that's why I'm thinking like coming into this, I feel like this is the year. Last year was the year of Hunger Games movies, 2023. 2024 is the year of Hunger Games books because we're getting the illustrated guide. And
Mm,
that's like we're getting a new look into the world. Like these
I
are
like that. We
illustrations
just
that
cycle
have,
back to the beginning.
yeah, we're going back to the books. That's what I'm hoping right now.
I hope that there's like an official script, like how they did with Cursed Child, like
In like
Mm.
revisiting.
bound form.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be very cool to have, I think. I'm curious to see what they would cut from it, like if there's anything from the movie that they would just totally axe altogether. That's also another issue what I have with it coming to the stage is like the movie happens, it's just quick scenes. It's like not there's not really a whole lot of time to linger in a lot of the
Mhm.
settings that you're in other than like the arena, but still you're still gonna have to have the fire and then like the tracker jackers and then the river, like finding Pete in the river and the
And
cave.
Katniss
I mean,
just never leaves stage.
yeah, like and that's
She's
just
just there.
so much. Like I can't even imagine. It's just they have a hard job. This whole production team has such a hard job.
It's a big risk.
It's a huge
Like the
risk.
chance for it to fail is much bigger, I think,
100%.
than the
And
chance for it to succeed.
I'm curious to see like what the general audience reaction to it would be
Mhm.
because like I mean we're fans of course, clearly. But the general audience I still can't really gauge on how they feel about the Hunger Games. I mean, I think people look back on them fondly. Ballad wasn't as financially successful as the other movies. So, do people want more Hunger Games? I mean, we do clearly, but I don't know how general audiences will react to something like this.
Yeah, I don't think it feels like a way that a casual fan would want to experience it.
Yeah,
Like the movies would probably be enough. Why see it in play form? But I mean, Suzanne's excited about it. She
yeah,
had a statement about how she was excited to be working with the team on like a new interpretation. And the fact that she gives it her blessing and is like semi involved gives me some confidence.
oh, same. I'm glad that she has. I mean, I feel like she wouldn't go ahead with any sort of adaptation from the Hunger Games unless she had her hand on it, which good. I'm hoping that she's giving them a lot of good advice for this because this is going to be very tricky.
But also like the book was written in three parts and she
Yeah,
has her whole background in writing and theater production and everything like that. So it's like I don't know, I have faith and that's why I keep leaning more into the book and I think I'm just going to be that optimistic book person like in the audience like please.
I'm being
But
optimistic. I just know how hard theater is, and I'm just like, I don't know how this is even going
yeah,
to work out.
what are some scenes that you think are going to be hard besides like we talked about the bloodbath?
The mutts, I think, would be kind of hard to pull
Mm.
off. I just hope there's cool puppets. There's one thing about me, I love
Mm,
puppets. I absolutely
mhm.
love puppets. Anytime there's a puppet on stage, I'm captivated. They're so interesting to me. There's been some really good puppets recently in theater. When Frozen was on Broadway, RIP to that show, this Fen puppet was so freaking cool.
Oh.
And it was like it was I mean, it's a work of art. I mean, it was really beautiful. And then when they did Into the Woods, they had like a limited run of Into the Woods. I think it was last year. The Milky White puppet, the cow, was so cute and like really cool and like had its own personality. I think that would be really neat to have like creepy puppets, scary
I
puppets.
feel like Life of Pi had some cool
Yeah, oh my
puppets
god.
too. Like that was great. I mean, I haven't seen it, but
I tried so badly. There were so many good puppets in that show.
if they just keep it like the movie though, just dark theater. You won't be able to see anything. It's
Rumbling
fine.
around in the background.
Um,
Jump
like
scares.
I think that'd be kind of effective though, like at least to introduce the mutts. That'd be very interesting.
It kind
Um,
of would. I mean, it was a jump scare in the theater. Like,
that jump scare, I remember the first time I saw that jump scare, it really took me out. I screamed.
yeah, same.
I want to see how they do like the whole going up into the arena thing.
Mm.
I think
That could be cool on stage.
really cool on stage. That's like one of my favorite scenes. Like anytime she goes into the arena, I'm like, yes, this is great.
Absolutely.
Just want to ride the little tube thing so
I
badly.
would love to see them like come from like underneath the stage.
I think that's what they have to do
That'd
it.
be so cool.
They have to do it that way. How like in the cornucopia too. I'm like,
Oh, the cornucopia is gonna be so cool.
it'd be cool if they had it on like a turntable situation, like the cornucopia, so you can get like all angles of it, and like at the end,
Mm.
on top of it, and like battling the mutts, but really hard to pull off. I
It's like
think
catching fire vibes when they spin it.
the chariot scene.
Yes, that's when I was thinking was gonna be like, how?
In my head, I just have an image of them on the chariot with like a screen in the background,
That's honestly,
and it going by, and they're just like waving.
I want to know like if they're gonna use movie like capital as like the background. I want them to do their own thing so desperately, but I don't think they can. I feel like they're probably under contract with Lionsgate to have it kind of close to the movie.
I don't know. There are things that I think could be so good and things that I can't even picture.
The flame dress, I think would be really cool if they do it right.
Cave scene can be really cute. I think they can
They could
redeem
improve that a
themselves.
bit.
I think that got the one when I rewatched the movie the other day, I was like, dang, this scene literally is 2 minutes long.
So bad.
The midnight premiere, this girl that was waiting, that was sitting in front of me, we were there. It was like 2 hours before the movie started, but we were in the theater. And this one girl was like, if they don't spend at least 15 minutes on the cave scene, I'm gonna hate this movie.
And we were
It's
let
never gonna
down that
happen.
night.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a Katniss and Peeta that have a little bit more chemistry.
Yep.
I'm just excited to really see District 12, I think. And like you said at the beginning, the reaping scene. I think that'll be probably the most dramatic part, or
Yeah.
the berry scene. It's very Shakespearean, so like that would
Mm.
be really cool to see on stage. And I like this because we're seeing the more like intimate scenes being the ones that are the ones that we're looking forward to. The quieter scenes that don't really get as much of a look at. And so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think that's what lends itself more to the play
Mhm.
format, whereas it's the action scenes that give me pause, make me concerned.
The tribute training center, like the training scenes, and have all these kids just doing climbing up ladders and throwing stuff. Like I don't really know how they're gonna do
Just a
that.
spear. Huh, huh, huh.
I, I hope it's not like too interpretative, if that makes sense. Like I hope it's not just like basic. I want them to go all out with like the design, like the set design and like the costume design, and like I just want just full on Hunger Games. I don't want like, I don't know, a minimalist sort of thing. I think that'd be kind of
Yeah, with a screen in the background.
I would be so
They
mad.
can't do it halfway.
Oh,
Like, if they want it to be successful, they gotta go all out.
well, that's why like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is so popular. Like people don't like the story. People go for the spectacle of it.
Yeah, I would go again. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was so
same.
cool.
I like the show, but I liked just watching all the effects. And same about the Stranger Things show, how that one, it's not very good story wise, but they have some really cool effects. And I don't even really like Stranger Things, so and I want to see it. I think it'd be cool. So I think
Mhm.
they have to go with spectacle over substance with this.
Those two shows, they're new stories.
Yeah.
And this is the Hunger Games. So, I mean, already that should be better than some random new story.
I'm glad they're not just doing like a prequel play or something like that. That would make me kind of
The dark days. I wouldn't mind it.
now
I'll
that you
take that. More canon.
I think that would be actually really an interesting way to go about that. And I wonder, like, if it's successful, would they do Catching Fire? I can't even imagine how they would do Catching Fire.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The water.
I mean, in Cursed Child, they have a water tank, which was really cool. When they like go into the lake, that was nifty. But
Yeah, that's
you
one of
know,
the best parts. Water on stage. So cool.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. See, I'm just so excited because I don't know too much about it. So to see, like you said, I hope there is a lot of spectacle to it. I think that would be awesome.
and I think it would make it from not being just a repetitive retelling of the movie. Like, I mean, of course, we all want to go see it, but I mean, if it's just the movie, that's something I would see once and be like, okay, like that was
Yeah.
good, but
Make it to Broadway. We want it to move on and and be popular.
Even if it's just like a copy of the movie, though, I do think there are going to be different parts that we enjoy that maybe we didn't enjoy so much in the movie.
Yeah.
Different things are going to stand out to us.
Imagine if they're going by the Billy Ray script.
Oh my, I was thinking that this morning. I was like, imagine Gail on the train.
Wait, that'd be kind of cool though. I like the Billy Ray script, I'm not gonna lie.
It's Seneca Crane getting yeeted off of the hovercraft at the
Yeah,
end.
I wanted to see it. I'm a fan. I'll take that reboot. Like, why not? Francis can do it.
Yeah, it's just we just kind of have to wait and see. There's just so much that we don't know right now, but I still like I can't imagine it being a thing. I still have no idea how they're going to do this. There's some aspects that I can see more happening, like the reaping scene. I feel like that could be pretty like easily done. But then like the more fantastical elements, which luckily, I mean, thinking about it now, the first movie doesn't really have like a whole lot of
CGI. The fight scenes that happen are them fighting, like Katniss and Clove rolling around. There's the mutts, yeah, and like the fire.
I think they can do some really cool stuff with the fire.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they could incorporate that in like for the chariot or for Katniss's dress.
I'm very excited for Katniss's dress. I could see them doing like some sort of lighting, something for that, not
You know,
real.
the bar is low for that in the movie, so
True. Very true.
they could easily improve on that scene.
Listen, the first time I saw it, I was wowed. I was dazzled by the fire dress.
12 years
Shut
ago.
up.
I was like, but I was 16. Like, I was very
I was a full
Exactly.
adult. I was not impressed.
sorry. Like, the chariot scene really makes, I can't watch it. Like, I have to fast forward through it. It just looks so stupid. I hope they make it look cooler.
I just need the I Volunteer as tribute scene. I need to hear Prim scream live.
And in person,
Live.
I mean, we're gonna see it either way.
It's happening.
Cursed Child was like 2 parts originally. I saw it when it was in the 2 parts. So like we went for acts 1 and 2 on one day, and then we went back the next day and saw parts 3 and 4, which was very strange to do, but it was very cool. I liked it. But they did condense it down, which is the production you saw, Emily. How long was it? Do you think like 3 hours?
Yeah.
Did it have just one intermission, if you remember?
Yeah.
Okay. I could see it having like it being like 3 acts, like the book, and having like 2 intermissions if they want to make it.
Oh, that could be interesting.
I saw a play.
I would respect that.
I saw a play a few years ago called The Front Page. It's like a 1920s like gangster comedy. It's very funny. It's 3 acts as well. It's a very long play, and it has like 2 intermissions, which was very nice. And it didn't feel long at all, honestly. So I could see them doing something like that. It's not a big book, but there's a lot of like stuff in it. If there's something that they would cut, what would you think it would be?
The cuts to Gale watching the games. We don't need that.
Yeah. Oh,
Those longing stares. They can go.
Probably the President Snow scenes.
Yeah, any cuts to like outside of the games, maybe.
maybe like Act 1 would be like everything before the arena, and then Act 2 would be the arena. I could see like the cutoff for
Be a good
intermission.
place to switch it.
Second acts are usually shorter than first acts, and I feel like the games they could kind of get done. I don't want to say quickly, but like
It'd be cool to see them like go up onto the stage, like from the tubes,
They
and
just-
then like black,
yeah, that'd be really
pumped for the second act.
that would be yeah. That's totally how they're gonna split it. I think I can't really think of another place that they would split it.
When are we thinking it's coming out? Like they said fall, but like what is or autumn? What does autumn mean?
Fall.
November, I think.
Theater stuff can get pushed back very easily.
I was looking at Stranger Things, and like at this point, that had already announced tickets, and it premiered in November or the beginning of December.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like October is a little early, unless they're just waiting on talking about when the show is going to come out.
I hope that they like at least give us more information before tickets go on sale, before I make that plunge to buy a ticket and then buy a plane ticket to go all the way to London.
But you're
know.
gonna see it no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I'm very
It doesn't matter, even if it's terrible. Don't you want to be able to say
Oh, yeah.
that you went? Like,
terrible. I think that it would be fun if it was bad, honestly, if that makes sense.
it'd have to be really bad to be fun.
It would have to be Billy Ray script level bad.
It's gonna be good though. I think it's gonna be good. Even
I
though
think-
there's a lot of things that I can't visualize. I mean, there's talented people that are working on it, so they can do it.
It comes
Hovercraft.
down to Suzanne, and I trust her. So
She has done us no wrong so far.
exactly.
Hmm.
Anything else we want to cover about the Hunger Games on stage? We're running on very limited knowledge, and
Yeah,
we
give us
have done
news, give us something. It's like back to waiting for a ballot where we're like, give us a picture, give us
Literally.
something.
anything.
Whenever we get that image, we're gonna analyze the heck out of it.
I hope that the marketing team does a really good job with it, because like there's
Mhm.
plays like or musicals you'll see that like don't really have like a social media presence, and they just like will post like maybe a picture and they're like, come see this show. But nowadays, like there's a musical on Broadway right now. It's an adaptation of Water for Elephants, and they're so good at TikTok. Like they have like all these like they just opened, but like a month or two before opening, they like here's the cast and like here's like some sketches of like this scenic design, and like it was a really cool behind the scenes look of like how this production came to be. And I really hope they do something like that for this. It'd be cool to see like the behind the scenes of how they're gonna do this.
TikTok. That's where you gotta promote.
Wait, if it doesn't
As long as it exists.
And on that note, I guess you should follow us on TikTok and check out all our social medias. Also, check out Ronnie's social media. Ronnie will plug you in the comments and captions and everything. But thank you so much for joining us today. We're always so happy to have you on and a part of Into the Arena.
Mhm.
honored to be here, especially for a topic like this.
There was no one else we could have on.
We will see you all next time. Bye.
See
Bye.
ya.